All right,
Sure.
guys.
How's that
We
going?
got Josh Perrizo here. He's coming out of Minnesota. Josh actually has no prior experience to in apartments and real estate, but he has some big news that he'll share with you in just a minute here. But Josh, I'm curious. So before, and we were just talking about this, but before you came on to working with Michael Blanc in our mentorship program, what was like that moment that you realized that you needed to make a change, and then you actually wound up joining the mentorship?
Yeah. So I think it was back in May of 2023. My company that I was working with a Fortune 500 company. I was notified that my position was going to be eliminated. And, this was the time where everybody kind of goes through the 5 stages, right? You don't know what you're going to do. Are you going to be okay, find a new job? And about 3 days after that, they notified me that they wanted to keep me on. So it was kind of a crazy week for me. And during those 3 days and ongoing after that, I read some finance books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, a couple others, and it's just started to shift the way I thought about earning income. And after that, I decided to take the package and find a different job, W-2 job. And I had about 4 weeks off in between jobs. I read some more books. I found out about Michael's book. And then when I read Michael's book, that's when it all kind of clicked. I love the systematic approach of being able to syndicate deals, not just raising X amount of money and buying a single family home once a year for 10 plus years. I liked the thought of scaling quickly. So I took all the notes from Michael's book and I tried to do this on my own with no help. And I reached out to brokers in a few different markets. I started to build some traction. I got some deals sent over to me. They were asking me to submit LOIs for these deals, right? And it was at that point where I realized like, oh man, I feel a little in over my head right now, so I need some guidance, I need support. And that's when I looked into mentorship programs, talked to a few people around the area, talked to some people that had went through the program and decided on Michael's program. So yeah, I kind of jumped in head first with no real estate experience. I just knew that I wanted to find a way to provide myself income versus relying on a job.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. They're a loss. They shouldn't have given you 3 days. So that's interesting. So you started this, you try to do it on your own, and then it sounds like you kind of hit a roadblock where they were asking for LOIs. And at that point, what made you feel like you needed help? Why don't you think you could have done it? Continue to work on your own.
Yeah, I think, I felt confident in a lot of things from what I had read, and I had purchased Michael's, like the syndicated deal analyzer, which comes with some videos on how to analyze deals and everything. So I just wanted confidence from others, right? Since I was completely alone, I wanted second opinions. Since this was going to be my first deal, I wanted somebody that I could go to kind of talk through these things. And there's a lot of steps in the real estate process, right? It's not just underwriting a deal, but it's going through getting investors. I wanted support in all these different things and just kind of confirmation on that I'm doing the right steps.
Mhm.
Because it was almost that what if I'm doing something wrong kind of mindset. So that was the ultimate trigger. And then the bonus that I got from the program that I wasn't really thinking about at the time was the networking aspect, the relationships that you build. And then there's a lot more training that I did not know about until I did the program. So
What part of the mentorship do you feel like helped you the most?
So number one is the training, right? We go through the initial training, you learn a lot. I like the systematic approach, kind of similar to Michael's book, just way more in depth. And then after that, being able to talk to people that have done this many times and not just having one mentor, but having multiple that you can discuss, different perspectives and points of view really helped me. I attended all the group calls and everything to get every mentor's take on what I was working on. But ultimately, the networking with other individuals was super key. I mean, that's how I got this first deal. We just closed a deal in Minnesota in the target market, and that was with another student in the Michael Blanc program. So obviously, I gotta tip my hat to that. This deal wouldn't have been possible for me because he sourced it. So I wouldn't have been able to close without doing the program.
Well, give me some of the details on that. So, what was the size? What
Yeah.
was the value of it? The location? How much it was raised? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the deal's in Alexandria, Minnesota. It's a kind of a tertiary market. It's like 20,000 people, I think the town is. But it's surrounded by a bunch of lakes. It's a huge tourist area and it's growing, like crazy. I mean, I think the population is like 5x of Minnesota's population growth.
Hmm.
And my partner, he was looking at this market a bunch. I wasn't really looking at it. And then he found it through relationships. He would go to meetups in Alexandria. He found this deal by meeting the broker through this meetup in Alexandria. They negotiated the price point and everything, and they came to an agreement. And then he came to me right away and asked if I wanted to join the deal. The deal was and is a 23-unit apartment, and then it's also a 40-lot RV park, so a campground. So it used to be one big resort, and they made the hotel an apartment, and then they still have the RV park. So it was a great deal because it was mismanaged. There's a huge opportunity to increase income by just managing it correctly, putting the name out there, just having it, like I said, more professionally managed versus kind of a mom and pop. So we closed at the end of February. We're in full action mode right now of initiating CapEx and making some renovations to the apartments. Yeah, and everything's been going well. You know, we underwrote conservatively, and we've been well below a lot of our expense and initial upfront acquisition costs. So
Nice. What was the value of the property that you purchased for?
1.6 million.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how much did you guys raise for it?
So our raise in total was 500,000. You know, my partner put in capital, I put in capital as well. So that's why this was great too, because being newer, you know, we were able to not have a huge property where we had to raise so much and bring in a lot of different partners. This was a great size for us to be able to achieve just the two of us. We were able to bring in the capital, and yeah, we're feeling confident between the two of us that we can really do a good job.
That's awesome, man. Cool, man. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing that. I'm excited for you. Hey, last question here. Like, what would you say to somebody who might be thinking about joining our mentorship, who, you know, might be on the fence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully recommending the program, right? I mean, for me, this is the way I was able to get my first deal done. And I think the biggest takeaway is just the confidence that it instilled moving forward, right? I talked to brokers. I just had a call with a broker today, and I was able to walk through my underwriting thought process, and, you know, I can really articulate my thoughts, and, you know, it's a pretty, I don't know, I think the way that I can go about it now is really professional, and they all really take me seriously because I know what I'm doing now. So I'd recommend it to anybody that wants to learn more about the underwriting process, wants to improve their relationship building skills with investors or brokers, property managers, anybody within the real estate space. And then finally, just having a mentor to go to, you know, with questions and just for support was really key. So it really helped me and was definitely worth it.
Man, well, thanks for sharing that. Hopefully that helps the next person who sees this jump in, and they'll be where you're at.
Yeah, right.
Months. So
it's possible. You can do it.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much.